Hey guys, it's me, Dax Moy from Personal Training Success Academy and FitSystemTraining.com, coming to you today with just a very short message of some really important things that I'd really like you to consider about the direction that you're taking your fitness training business, your personal training business, your boot camps and so on and so forth. See, there's a lot of personal trainers out there, a lot of fit pros that have bought into this idea of lack, that there are some real struggles going out there in the marketplace at the moment that mean that they have to do all of their work on Groupon, that they have to fight with tire kickers, that they have to continuously be looking at discounting their services, that chopping their prices down, kind of really working hard to get the money, to extract the money from the clients who, as you know, if you listen to the most popular stories at the moment, these clients that just really don't want to pay above the odds. They don't want. Many of them don't even want to pay the odds, right? They don't want to be paying just even the base price. They're all looking for discounts, and they're all looking for money off and all the rest of it. And this is the story that's going around in the industry at the moment. Like we've hit really hard times. Okay, that there isn't really any money out there, and we've just got to kind of take what we can get. And I just wanted to kind of take a couple of minutes today to really address that and talk to you about the fact that that's not really the truth. Okay, you can buy into that all you want. You can tell yourself the story of that, and you can say, well, in where I come from, there just isn't money for this, and there just isn't money for that. And I absolutely promise you that even in the towns where you come from, there are people that are wealthy. There are people that have a lot of money. There are people that are driving really flash cars, have memberships at golf courses that probably cost more it costs more to be a member of the golf course than maybe you earn in a year, right? In country clubs and so on and so forth. There's a lot of money out there. And this isn't just a kind of a push for me saying, go out and find the money. Right, but what I'm saying to you is that stop making excuses for yourself about the fact that you've got to do things on the cheap, and that you're always going to be having to put your prices down. I've got some stats here, and these come from my fitness marketing to the Affluent program that I run. Here's some things, some very interesting stats, and they're related to kind of the affluence model in the United States at the moment. Okay, the affluence model tells us that right now in the United States, there are over 10.8 million US homes who would be considered affluent, right? So what that means is that they have a household income, disposable income of $75,000 to $100,000 per year, right? And that breaks them into the affluent kind of end of the scale. That's quite a lot, right? 10.8 million households, right? So on the one hand, you might say, well, that's not very many, kind of considering how many people live in the United States, right? But that's still enough, right? We're not looking for like a million clients each. Most of us aren't even looking for 100 clients each. And certainly when you're looking for these very highly affluent people, you're not looking for very many of them at all. You can actually earn a very good living working very few hours with some very high-end clientele, right? So we're talking about 10.8 million households, right? Well, this is where it gets even more interesting. The affluent, so the affluent, we were just talking about the near affluent, now we're talking about the affluent. They fit into the $100,000 to $200,000 per year household income, right? This might surprise you. 10% of all US households actually fit into that bracket. 10%. 10% of all US households fit into the $100,000 to $200,000 per year income bracket. And yet we're still saying that there's a shortage of money. I don't think there is, but it gets even more interesting. Look at this, the wealthy. So people that are actually considered wealthy as opposed to affluent, they are kind of, according to US statistics, the wealth sits at $200,000 plus per year household income. Okay, over 2.5 million US households actually sit in that particular bracket right now, right at this minute, because these are very up to date statistics. And what about high net worth? High net worth individuals, right? So these are basically people that are $1 million plus, right? High net worth, $1 million plus. And the stats here tell me that by 2016, over 19 million households in the United States will be high net worth. In other words, over 19 million will have over $1 million to play with, right, per year, right? That's a lot of money, right? I mean, these are crazy stats, aren't they? Right? I mean, these will come from very, very trusted sources. I pay quite a lot for my stats. I buy reports on wealth. I buy reports on kind of wealth statistics for different countries, particularly the US and the UK. And you know, these are very, very accurate because they're done by big banking organisations. How about ultra high net worth individuals? Ultra high net worth, $3 million plus. Okay, and it says that by 2016 there'll be over 5,500 $3 million plus people living within the United States, which again, 5,500 doesn't sound that many, right? But you don't need very many people. So what that says is that there's been a 178% increase in people in the last 10 years. 178% increase in people kind of breaching the $3 million mark. Okay. Now, what does all of this mean, and what does it mean to you? Well, what it means is you've got to stop telling yourself the story of lack, because all of the statistics related to wealth actually show that the wealthy are getting wealthier, and that there are more of them than at any other time in the past. So we can talk about recession, and we can talk about kind of certain elements of your market maybe not being able to afford your services, but what you've got to understand is that you're probably focusing on selling, you know, what is it we do when times get hard? We notice that the people that we're working with suddenly have a little bit less money. Okay, and now we start to panic and we say, what do we need to do? We need to change our fee structures. We have to put our fees down. We need to make it more affordable. That's one way of doing it. I'm certainly not saying, you know, not to look after your current clientele. But don't forget, there's a second aspect to this. And this second aspect is for you to look in the marketplace for people that can afford your services, and not just can afford it, but would happily pay you for a higher end service than probably the one you're delivering right now. Okay, there are lots and lots and lots of people out there willing to spend a lot of money with you. Okay, but they're not spending that money with you because you're only marketing to the lower end, or you haven't necessarily built a service that would appeal to the very, very high end of the market. And this is really what I've done. This is what I've specialised in over the years. So right now in the UK, I'm regarded as the UK's highest paid trainer, stroke coach, right? Really, and that's a big distinction there actually, because that's what I do differently. I don't just train people. I work much more as a coach. Okay, so I offer a one-to-one residential program. I did 9 weeks of it last year, which is $25,000 per person per week. Okay, and one of my clients came for 3 weeks last year, a member of royalty, right? So she spent 3 weeks with me, $25,000 per week. It's quite a bit of money, right? It's not too bad. How do you get those kind of clients? Where do you find them? What is it that they're actually trying to? What is the experience that they're trying to achieve? Not just the results. Okay, a lot of us want the same results, but what is the experience? Where do these people hang out? How can you access them? How can you put your story in front of them? Because I can tell you this, the way that you market to fill your current boot camp and the way you market to fill your current PT programs will not work for the ultra high net worth people. It won't work for the high net worth people. It probably won't work for most of the ultra affluent and the wealthy, right? So, you know, all of these sites that are absolutely jam-packed full of testimonials with people's before and after pictures and all of the long copy sales and all that, the long sales copy, all of that is a waste of time on these people, because that's not how they buy. That's not how they come to making their buying decisions. So how can you find them? How can you put yourself and your messages in front of these people so that they actually, you know, they buy your services? These are some of the discussions I'm having, some of the training that I'm teaching at Sam Bakhtiar's event next month in May in Vegas. I'm going to be taking 2 whole days to take a select group of people through understanding the mindset of the ultra high net worth individuals. Okay, so that you can build programs, you can create marketing, you can basically create the right message so that you're in front of the people that are willing to spend good money on an absolutely fantastic service, as opposed to the people that maybe are trying to negotiate $10 off you here and $5 off you there, you know, and who don't really want to pay even your current rates. Okay, so it's a very, very special program. I've only run it once so far in the UK, and it went down really, really well. Like I say, I'm coming out to Vegas. You know, kind of, I'm sure beneath this video somewhere, Sam will probably put some buttons and some links that will explain to you about how you can find out more about the event and where it is and what it costs and all that kind of stuff. Because I really don't know most of that stuff. I'm going to turn up and I'm going to be teaching this. Even if you're not coming though, even if you're not coming to the event, here's something I really want you to connect with. the statistics I just gave you are real. They're not made up. They're not bullshit figures that have been kind of drawn out of thin air, right? These come from some very expensive surveys by very influential and trusted financial organizations in the United States, right? So they're factual figures. And what they are saying is that most of the story we're telling ourselves about there not being enough money to go around and about people not being willing to spend a lot of money on what we do, most of that is absolute bullshit. Okay, so I'm really excited to be coming to Vegas next month. I'm really looking forward to kind of taking those group of people through understanding how they can find the ultra high net worth individuals. But at the very least, if you don't come, I just want this to plant the seeds of an idea in your mind that there are people out there right now with more than enough money to pay you what you're worth, as long as you're delivering something amazing. These people aren't stupid, and I don't want you to kind of think of this as a, hey, let's go out and kind of fleece and, you know, kind of let's get the money from the really rich people. This isn't about that. This is about saying that there are a group of people out there that are not necessarily being serviced by the industry very well. Okay, and if you can create something for them, not only are you going to get paid very well, but your diary is going to be as full as you want it to be. You're going to have all the clients that you want to have. You know, if you still love doing some of your lower end work, you can still do that because you'll be earning more than enough money from the ultra high net worth individuals. Anyway, that's my mad rambling over for now. Like I say, there's probably some links about down here somewhere that Sam's probably put there, and if not, I'll be back in a few days with another short video that will just explain to you one or two small systems that I use to put myself in front of the ultra high net worth individuals. Until then, take care.